Hello everybody, my name is Kyle Lee, aka Kilo Loco from kiloloco.com, and today we're going to be going over Firebase Media Storage. We're going to be using Xcode 9, Beta 2, Swift 4, obviously Firebase, and CocoaPods. This is an intermediate project. You should be familiar with setting up a Firebase project. The way that I'm going to do it is going to be without authorization or authentication. So this means that this wouldn't be exactly how you would set it up in your project, because anybody could access your storage files. So you need to know how to go over authorization and authentication. I have a YouTube tutorial on how to do that if you don't know how to do it, but we're going to be moving forward without any authorization or authentication. You should also be comfortable with the idea of making networking requests, uploading and downloading stuff. And if you want to find this project, I have a branch that is a starter branch in this repo. You can go over to GitHub over here at the Firebase storage repo, and I do have a starter branch if you want to follow along that way. I have all the UI already built out for this project. Nothing too crazy, and I haven't gone too deep into anything, so you should be able to follow along, and everything that's already in the starter project you should already know how to implement yourself. So let's get into it. Alright, so let me bring up my Xcode, and let's get it all big and sexy for you guys. Alright, so let me just go over the storyboard real quick, just so that we can see what we're working with and what environment we're going to be working in as soon as Xcode decides to work. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so as you can see, all I have are two UI image views. I made the background gray just so that we can see them when we run it on the simulator, which is right here. I just made the background gray just so that you can see that that's where the image is going to appear. This is just a regular label. You can't do anything with it. It's just telling you this is the image that I'm going to upload, and this is the image that once I download it, I will be populating this image view with that image. And then these are buttons, obviously, and everything is connected up to the view controller right here, which, as you can see, haven't done anything crazy yet. We're not gonna I wanted to make sure that you guys can see that it did start off with the view did load and did receive memory warning. We don't need those, so I'm gonna delete that right here. But this is all we're gonna be working with: 2 outlets and then 2 actions. That's all you really need to do to get up and running with storage. So let's go ahead and head over to Firebase, because we do have to create a new Firebase project. I wanted to make sure that you guys know how to do that, even though you should be familiar with doing this. Figured just want to make sure that nobody feels like they're left out or anything like that. So go to the console, you do that. Waiting for Firebase to get going. All right, add a new project. And we're just going to call this storage to Firebase, which is what I called my project, my Xcode project. You can call it whatever you want. They don't have to match the names. Come on, man. Let's get going. Why is it taking so dang long? Alright, it finally decided to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to storage. I don't know why it's taking so long, but yeah, so we can go ahead and get started. It's just telling you about the security rules, which I'm going to override, and that's something that you don't really want to do. And we have to create a new bucket, and we're going to do that inside the app, but don't worry. And I want to go over here real quick. This is one of the most important things. So this you normally wouldn't do, what I'm about to do. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it to if request.auth, which is the user has that is authorized to use this storage bucket, is not equal to null, which means that they have properly gone through Firebase and they have created a user through Firebase or on your app or whatever it is, and that they do have an authorization. They do have authorization to access this stuff. I'm going to set it to null, so they have to be like anonymous. They can't have a profile, or else this will not work for them. So I'm just going to change these settings. You don't want to do this in your real app, but that's what I have to do. All right, so going back over to the overview, we're just going to get up and running with the iOS project, and I'm going to copy in my bundle, just make sure that you guys can see how all this goes down real quick. Go ahead and drop that in there, register the app, download this. Remember that if you have multiple, that you don't want the number at the end, which we'll see right here, because I usually have multiple. Downloads this 10. Wow, that's a lot. I'll put it right next to my plist file. Copy items if needed. We click on this, take away that 10, leave it at info, bam, right there. Shh. All right, now continue. And Firebase is really easy, you guys. It tells you everything that you need to do. All right, so we're gonna do the pod init stuff. So we're gonna go over to here. We're gonna change directory to our project. So change directory to desktop, KL learning, because you know that's where I learn you. And then I call this storage on Firebase. So pod init that bad boy. Wait for it to do something. Open that pod file, and right here, under right here where it says pods for storage on Firebase. Now you'll notice that it'll say obviously this one, the core, right? But since we're using storage, we also need the storage one. So I'm gonna just do this. We'll do pod right here, and we do pod, and Firebase is, their naming convention is really straightforward. So just storage. So now we save that bad boy, save them, and then we do pod in, no, pod install. See, getting ahead of myself and backwards behind myself and doing weird stuff. Gotta be careful. All right, so now we're done with this project. Now we need to use a XC workspace from here on out, which you should already know. If you don't know that, then you need to watch some of my other tutorials. All right, so make sure you want this in your app delegate right there, right? We'll finish up. We'll head back over to storage. We're all done with the initial setup. We will open up this folder. Make sure we choose the workspace, not the project. You should already know that. All right, now let's get back into the app delegate, and we just drop that in there after we make sure that we import Firebase. We want to build, make sure that it can build. And let me clean this up while it's building, because it looks kind of ugly to me. Ugly to me. Alright, so yeah. Alright, it looks like build succeeded. As you can see, it is in green, which means that it is able to access the Firebase module. And now we can head back over and we can start working with some of this stuff that I told you we gonna be working with. Yay! So what we want to do is we want to import Firebase storage, because that's what we're working with, right? Seems to make sense to me. And the first thing that we want to do is that we want to create a reference to our Firebase bucket. Now right now we don't have any buckets, so we also have to create that bucket. And what the way that I'm gonna name this bucket is I'm just gonna call it images, because that's all we're gonna be storing by, you know, just for this tutorial's sake. So what I will do is I'm gonna create a variable called image reference, and this will be of type storage reference. And the way that I will initialize this is we will return storage dot storage, kind of redundant, storage dot storage. Now this will access our storage. Let me see. This will access this pretty much feature set, right? Storage, right? So now we have to get a reference dot reference dot child and we're gonna say images. Now let me break down what's going on right here. Okay, so we're obviously using, oh, that's what I did. Okay, so okay, let me break down what's going on right here. This should work. Yeah, okay, so this, as you can see right here, it says creates an instance of Firebase storage and configures it with the default Firebase, Firebase app, right? So what that means is it's going to access the singleton property of storage, just so that we're always working with the same storage reference. And then the reference is what I said earlier. I kind of mixed it up a little bit, but the reference is going to be to here, the storage to Firebase right here. So that's what this reference is. Now we want to have a child from this reference, and that's going to be each of our buckets that are going to be listed here. Now for the free one, I believe you can only do, for the free version of Firebase, you can only do one bucket. I think if you might have to upgrade if you want multiple buckets, but if you just have like one thing like images and you save them all in one bucket, then you should be fine. So that's what that's doing. So now we have the reference, which is this right here. And then the child is something that we're going to create. Once we do our first upload, it will automatically create a bucket called images. And then inside that bucket, we will be able to see all the images that we choose to upload. I'm only going to upload one for the sake of this tutorial, but the concept still applies for multiple images. It would just be one bucket, and when you go into that images bucket, then there's a bunch of different images. Hope that makes sense. Okay, so this is the image reference, right? If you go through the Firebase documentation, they'll tell you to just kind of leave it at the storage base, the reference right here, and then you can create multiple children. But like I said, I think you need to start paying for more than one bucket, so just keep that in mind. All right, so now what we have to do is we have to access our image, the upload image, and we have to send that up to our storage in Firebase. So let's see. First thing we have to do is we have to access that image. So guard let image equal upload image dot image else return, right? Okay. Now what we have to do is we also have to get the image data, because obviously when you're doing networking requests of any kind, to send up an image, you have to convert it to data. So let's go ahead and do that. Guard let image equal, no, we want to call this one image data equal, and we'll turn this into a UI representation, UI, what is it called, JPEG or image JPEG representation. So this will turn it into data right here, and as you can see, it's optional data. That's why I'm wrapping it in guard. You should already kind of have an idea about this stuff. So we'll pass in our image right here, and compression quality, we'll just keep it at 1 because we don't want it compressed for whatever reason, and we're gonna return if we can't do that. Now that we have the image data, we can actually say that we want to upload this. But before we upload it, we have to give it a file name to reference it in the storage or the database. Now, you would normally want to, what you would want to do is you'd normally want to make sure that it's a unique file name. So you might want to use something like uuid.uuid string, or some other type of naming convention that's always going to give you a unique name. But for the sake of this one, I'm just going to keep it really readable, and I'm going to make this global because when we upload it, we need to have access to that file name. So we'll just say let file name equal, and we'll just call this, since, did you guys get the chance to see the image? You saw it in the simulator. I didn't show it to you in the assets, but this is all it is. Cosmos, right? But I'm not going to call it Cosmos. I'll call it Earth because it's the Earth and the Moon, right? So let's go ahead and call it Earth. Straightforward and simple. Yeah, Earth, and we'll say .jpg because it's a JPEG file. Once again, name your files properly in a unique way, and you shouldn't have any problems. So yeah, so now we have to specify the name and for this image data that we're going to upload. So what we have to do is we have to we have to create a reference for this particular image. So let upload image reference equal, and since we have, let me double check. So since we have this, right, and I told you that it's going to essentially give you, this slash images, because that's the child. Now we want to do image reference. So now we have to access this images and say that inside this images, which will be here, the images bucket that will appear here will be slash whatever our file name is. This way it's easy to access, and this will make a little bit more sense once I actually go through it. But what we want to do is we have to actually do our image reference, right? And we have to do dot child. So once again, we're appending something at the end of that that reference to our buckets, and that's just going to be our file name, which will be earth.jpg. All right. Now, just like any normal upload or networking request, you have to specify it in tasks, right? So let upload task equal, we'll do upload image ref dot put data, and we want the one that has the completion handler because we want to do stuff with it. Well, we're not going to do anything with it other than just say that it's successful, but you would probably want to do something with it. Like you would normally, what you would want to do is you want to make sure that the image gets uploaded, and then if that's successful, then you can say, all right, now that I have it successfully uploaded, I'll make an instance in my database, and it will have a reference to earth.jpg or whatever the file name is. This way you're not you can't store media files in the Firebase Realtime Database, but you can create a reference to the storage from your Firebase Realtime Database to the storage. I hope that makes sense. But anyway, we're gonna use this one. That's all I'm trying to say. We're gonna use this one. All right. So image data is the data that we're gonna put in there. The metadata, that's mainly to specify, like if you wanted to specify like a title, the description, media type, things like that. Since we're just working with one type of media, which is just going to be images, we don't need to specify anything. We're not going to be looking at any of this metadata to separate it or any of that. So I'm just going to put in nil for right here for the sake of the tutorial. And for the completion handler, as you can see, we have storage metadata or error. So we'll just print both of those out. So metadata and error. So print metadata, and these I believe are both optional, so we'll just say no metadata. Print error, else no error. All right. Now, lastly, all we have to do is just like your URL sessions, what you would do is you want your upload task.resume. But before I do that, I also want to track the progress, because sometimes, especially uploading media to any type of database, it generally takes a couple of seconds to do it. So what I want to do is I want to track the progress just so that you can see that you can, if you wanted to create like an activity indicator at the top left, or like a progress bar, that it's really easy to do that. And all you have to do is grab your upload task, and then what's going on? Okay, all you have to do is you grab your upload task, and then all you do is observe it. So observe storage task status, right? Wait, let me double check, make sure I'm giving you guys the right one. It should be progress status. Yeah, I think it's it's this one. So we'll do the storage task status, and we'll do, look at, you could observe all of these and trigger off of any of those things, and then write code depending, failure, if they paused it, you could check the progress, which is what we want. Resume, that doesn't really make sense right here, or success. So we're going to track the progress, and then we'll just say snapshot for the namespace, and all we're going to do is just going to print snapshot dot progress, else no more progress. Okay, so I hope all this kind of makes sense so far. It seems straightforward to me. I hope it's straightforward to you. So all we're doing is creating a task. We're putting image data in this bucket, or in this space inside of the image reference, which is a reference to the images bucket that we're going to create automatically once we do upload. And we're not doing anything with the completion handler, just seeing what comes out at the other end. And let me just specify that this is print upload task finished, just so that we have a way to distinguish between this and that. And we're just resuming. So this will automatically populate every time it gets back some progress, and then this will print as soon as it's finished doing its task. Alright, so let's go ahead and run this real quick, just to make sure that we're all good and golden, and that everything's working, and that we're on the yellow brick road. Just, we're going down, and we're not in Kansas anymore, and yeah, Lollipop Gill, things like that. Alright guys, so after a couple of minutes of trying to figure out what was going on, the simulator stopped working. It's because my Google service -info file in the downloads folder wasn't converting its name to without the number. It had the -10 after it, which was causing a problem, which means that the app wouldn't upload or wouldn't load and nothing would work. So that was causing me some problems, but I finally got it up and running. But as you can see, nothing has changed. The bucket is still empty. I haven't moved forward without you guys. It just ran into that little error. So yeah, see, everything's still as it was. Okay, so let's finally go back over to our app. We're going to do upload, and now you should be able to see the progress. Okay, that didn't look right, but it says that it did finished. There was no error, and as you can see, it was printing out the progress, but it was doing it in a very strange manner. I don't know why it gave so many errors on line 89. Not really sure where that line 89 is, but as you can see, it was giving us the progress right here, completed so much out of that amount of bytes right there. So that is the way that you do it. My Xcode's being a little bit weird, because it is still beta 2. I need to upgrade to beta 3, but yeah. Okay, so you can see that you are able to track the progress, and it will even give you the fraction completed, 26% right here and 51% right here. So it'll do the math for you and all that other stuff. So you can just parse that data if you wanted and display it in, in an activity indicator or in a progress bar if that's what you chose to do. And then once you finished, it will tell you all the information about your requests. So all this information you can choose to do different things with. So images/earth.jpg is the name. Now, if we go back over to our database or our storage bucket and we refresh this, there should be images right there. Okay, so excuse you. Okay, so when I did that upload request, it created an images bucket for me, or a folder, whatever you want to call it. And then inside the images, you can see that there is earth.jpg. And it'll also even show the file location and the download URL. Now, if I download this and I paste it into the browser, it should download automatically. See how it goes to the downloads, and then I'll see Earth right here. Bam. So as you can see, it is working for the upload. Now let's just get that download working and we will be all set. You guys will know the basics of what you need to do. All right, so only a couple of lines of codes, very simple, very straightforward, and Firebase is on top of working with Swift, so they have great documentation for Swift, and they have their methods work right as opposed to AWS. The video that I did on AWS, I explained the way that they had their methods set up. It just didn't really make too much sense. This makes a little bit more sense. So that's just my 2 cents. All right, let's keep going. All right, so now for the we essentially need to do the same thing. We need to get, instead of an upload image reference, we need to get a download image reference, right? So once again, we're going to access our file name. So let download image ref equals our image reference, because we're still accessing the image bucket, or the images folder, that I should say. And we're going to say child, and we're just going to say file name. Same exact same exact line of code, except going to be used for different purposes essentially. So we do the same thing. Download image reference, except instead of putting data, what we want to do is oh no, wait, we need to make a task. I'm sorry. Just like up here, we need to make a task. Let download task equals download image reference dot get data. Now the max size, this is the max size of the file that you want to be able to download. So you could put in here like whatever, just any random number. For those of you that want kind of a little bit better explanation of what this means, so what we'll do is we'll do like so live photos for iPhone are like 12 megabytes, right? So we'll just do 12 megabytes. So maybe you would put in something like this. So that's 1 kilobyte. This is 1 megabyte, and this is 12 megabytes, right? So you guys should know that. If you don't, well, I guess it's okay, but you should really know bytes and how they work. So the namespace for the data, and then the error. So we'll just do the same thing, except with the data, we want to obviously use that to create an image. So we'll do if let data equals data. Then what we'll do is we'll do let guard let image equal UI image, and we're gonna initialize this image from data. And you know what, we don't even have to do the guard let because images are optional by default, so we don't have to really worry about that. So if we're able to convert the data that we downloaded into an image, and we set that image to our download image, it should populate. So self.download image is equal to image image. Then it will populate, and then we'll also print an error if there is an error. If not, we'll just say no error, right? So I hope that makes sense. And then just like the other just like the upload task, we just have to resume our download task .resume. And these tasks, just like anything, since they are just tasks, what you can do is you could do download task where's observe? It should be observe. There it is, .observe. And then we can say, once again, progress. And for our snapshot, it will just be, we'll call it just snapshot. And we'll print, we'll print the snapshot .progress. And if there's no progress, then we'll say no more progress, right? So now, just like when we upload it, we should be able to see the download progress as well. All right, so let's go ahead and try that. And everything should be working. So I hope all this makes sense. So we're just, once again, getting a reference to that image. And since we know that it's in the images bucket, which we specified right here from our image reference, right? And we're just putting in that file name. When we uploaded it, all we need to download it is when we upload it is the file name. To download it, we just need the file name. Hope that makes sense. And then just the two different types of tasks that you would want to run, right? So now, since it's already uploaded, we don't need to upload it again. We can just do download, but let's first clear out all this garbage. So now, see, this is how it's supposed to come back. See how there is, how it's very clear and concise. Look at 99%. Look at all these progress updates. So this is a lot better. This is how the upload task was supposed to come back, but for whatever reason, it just decided to come back a little bit different. That's the thing with Firebase. It's just sometimes it's a little bit buggy when it comes to logging some of these things. But yeah, as you can see, you can get progress all right here. And it jumps around a little bit, but for the most part, it's pretty consistent. Alrighty, so now if we go over to the app, as you see, it's there. Now, I was kind of paying attention to the logs, so let's just do that again one more time, just so that you guys can see it happen. It's not just magic. It's not program magic. I'm not a program magician type of dude. Once again, we'll get that, but let's go ahead and do our download. And once it says no error down there, bam, downloaded. And that's all you have to do. So the upload and download with Firebase for the storage, extremely simple. They essentially follow the same exact rules. You just want to make sure that you get a reference. You want to make a reference inside of your bucket, whatever you're going to call it. Maybe it's sounds, maybe it's videos. We did an image reference. We just called it images. And then you have to be able to grab that file by some type of identifier, right? So they use their file name. And, you upload it with a file name. You could download it with the file name. And then, you just do your simple networking tasks. And that's it. All right, guys, so that was Firebase storage. I hope that made sense. I hope that this video helped you. If you liked the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe. Make sure you check the links in the description if you want to see the finished completed project file, as well as any ways that you want to contact me, which would be in the comments or through Twitter. All right, so once again, my name is Kyle Lee, aka Kilo Loco from kiloloco.com, and as always, code passionately, yeah?